Good morning from Seattle. Good afternoon to the rest of the country. This is a continuation of the Blog for Goods legal blogging in 45 chapter series that we're doing. We're up to chapter 11 today. We're going to run this all the way till middle of July. Maybe some chapters will get consolidated, some will be added. I've gotten a few questions along the way from folks as to what to cover. And not everybody's watching on Facebook Live, so we're storing this on LinkedIn, YouTube channel, and also getting it out on Twitter. Today, talking about branding of your blog vis-a-vis the identification of the publisher. So leave aside, what some firms may spend inordinate amount of times as far as color branding and logos and that type of thing, but just think about it as far as branding, of the blog from a publisher standpoint. Now, what is the publisher of a blog? Think of the blog as a magazine. It's a publication. It might be a series. If you went to a law review, there would be a publisher. If you went to a legal publication, there would be a publisher. And now you're starting to get it through your head that these things don't live in a website, because if I went to the law firm and I said, who is the publisher of your website? And they go, what? Well, who's the publisher? Because you obviously, if you have lawyers putting so much time and money into publishing content on your site, you don't want it to be looked at as an advertisement or marketing. You want it to be looked at as publishing and authoritative publishing that people can take as authoritative publishing, as opposed to something that the firm is solely trying to get more work with, which you're going to get by publishing publications anyway. So you want to think about that. You've got the name of the blog. Who is it published by? Oftentimes it's published by a law firm, and use that panache. There's a panache associated with it. There's no reason that if you're publishing a publication on a niche thing, if Harrison Brick and Firm are publishing the China Law Blog, it might be the most authoritative publication or one of them in the world on China law, because they're covering so many issues on that issue. If they're writing on cannabis law, same firm, and they were the first firm to get out there and cover it with the Canna Law blog, it's a pretty authoritative publication. So the blog is more authoritative than the firm, if you will, even though it's the firm that publishes the blog. So knowing that to be the case, you want the name of that blog up there. It's like Field and Stream. Who is the publisher? The name of the publication is what makes it authoritative. What makes people stop at the airport and pick up a publication. They don't pick up the publication because it's branded with the name of the publisher across the top. They pick up the publication because it has the name of the publication. That picks up your authority. So think about that when you're branding. Okay, it's the name of the firm. So you've got your firm. Maybe it is IP issues in the healthcare industry. Maybe it is IP litigation in Northern District of Illinois. That's the name of it. Don't drown it out with the name of the publisher, because what you're going to do is you're going to dilute the value of the blog or the authoritativeness. It's published by, very distinctly. When I started LexBlog, you could kind of keep, your finger in the dike for a while. But after that, firms wanted to have their name in lights. Because why claim authority and have people cite our publications when we can put our name out there and just push it out like a balloon, and see where it drops on people. And if it doesn't drop on enough people, we'll pay people to push it at people that didn't want to get it. But if you can build a publication that has authority, and you start with the branding of it, name of the publication, published by the firm. There's been a temptation by the firms, and I think we're to blame for it. I really do, because I think what we did was we followed along and let them do it. We let them start to put their name across the top without any real serious conversations with them about saying, do you know that that's pretty lame? Do you know that that's going to decrease the authority of your publication? Do you know that that's going to make your lawyers less cited? Do you know that that's likely to result in you having to pay people to push your content out because it's going to be a less authoritative publication? And we didn't do that. And so what happened is people followed like lemmings the other publications and saw how they were doing it. And then the other thing that happened was that the web development companies, they didn't build their companies with blogging. If they have a blog, it's kind of it's really not a blog that they're getting a lot of citations and authority as a result of. So they really don't know how to blog. So then it's the blind leading the blind as to how you brand a blog as a publication. But let's go back to, the branding. And you can even go so far as individuals could trump the firm's name in branding to benefit the firm. When Microsoft had its first blogs, I mean, you could say, well, our firm knows better than Microsoft because, whatever. But, going back 15, 16 years ago, a little bit more than that, Robert Scoble was working with Microsoft, and at that time they had blogs of all different shapes and sizes on all different types of platforms. It didn't come through communications. It didn't come through a common theme that everybody had to use. People just did blogs. And the developers put up blogs, and the blog was in their name. That was it. And they started to blog. And what happened is they built relationships with other developers that were buying Microsoft equipment and influencing Microsoft builds. And it was played one role in lifting Microsoft out of the evil empire reputation that they had at that time. Today, Microsoft looks pretty good. 15 years ago, 16 years ago, when you had them the subject of antitrust cases in each of the states, plus the U.S. Attorney's Office, Microsoft didn't look so good. They were the evil empire in everybody's eyes. But one way to break out of it was through being more open and transparent and having 15 bloggers all branding with their own in their own way. I would when I call it marketize, and how you identify the blog. That's with that stripe across the top or any other way that you're trying to marketize it too much, because you want to be careful of that. You don't want the firm's name all over the place. That's why blogs aren't inside of websites, at least the ones that work very well, because it's surrounded by the marketing. If you're going to have a publication, you've tossed out the authoritativeness once you put it inside a website. There's a lot of people that disagree with me. Most of them have never blogged as a way to build a business. In fact, I'm not sure of any that ever have. And so they're bucking the trends of what might go on other places, and it's just a marketing trend that has gone that direction. But I would try to understate it on the marketing side, because the best form of marketing an individual lawyer is for them to build relationships, build influence, and that they're going to do. One of the ways is with blogging, but they're not going to do it with the firm's hat on all the time. So to the extent that you're putting that brand and the logos all over the place, you can do it in tasteful ways. But if you're going to do it hot and heavy, well, all you're doing is you're telling all the lawyers that if you go out on the net, wear the firm's hat. Today it might mean out on the net in a Zoom call. Why don't you just send everybody a hat and say, make sure that you're wearing either the firm's shirt or the firm's hat or the firm's shirt with a big patch on it if you're out there, because we're not going to allow you to go anywhere without that type of thing going on, because we've got to have the firm's name out there. So I don't know why firms do it. So a tasteful way to brand it is you can have, imagine this, a blog, you've got the title of publication, and then it's published by the firm. You might have the firm's logo right here. That one of these things is going to be linked back to the firm's site very tastefully. People will figure out where stuff is from. And then when you have a piece written by an individual lawyer in the firm, it's going to link back from the lawyer's name to the profile at the firm's site. And that's going to add authority to the blog, because it's not somebody publishing a blog out of their basement. It's somebody publishing a blog with a reputable law firm. And they do this type of work on an ongoing basis. So it adds value to the blog. You just don't want to shove it at people right off the front. I wouldn't copy the firm's website when you're doing it. It's a real temptation, because it's a shame. It really is a shame that the first thing a lot of people talk about when they're going to do a blog is what it looks like, and they're being guided by somebody that usually doesn't blog. So you spend your time on what it looks like, and then you're talking about, gee, it should look like the website. Why? Well, it just should, because it's on the internet. It doesn't have to. It can complement it. So I always told firms, certainly you have certain fonts that you use. You have a certain style guide that you use. To us, they're giving it to us, and then we're coming back to them with a design for a publication, and try to tone it down on the branding of the firm. So carry forward, the brand that you have. Take into the elements that you have, that you're using on your website, and you're using in all your other collateral material that you're having for the firm. Carry that over, but don't try to mirror, the design of the website or the blog, because the problem with all the navigation that's associated with the website has nothing to do, with a publication. You're just forcing something on top of it. So those are the big points that I have on branding for a publication. Fill you in on Blog for Good, which I do every day. I think we're going to have something up real soon. we're jumping ahead, but we got to get the team to have Blog for Good page up that identifies the LexBlog 20 product that we've made for the lawyers, because they're starting to use it. In New York City, we've got any number of lawyers that right now are going to be up on blogs, coming part of the Blog for Good campaign. They're going to start to cover issues of help to consumers and small business people and government agencies in New York City, because we're working with the New York City Bar Association in what is the most deadly area as far as impact from the pandemic in the United States. We had a good call yesterday with Florida. I'm confident that we can get something up there. At that point in time, we'll have 3 of the 4 largest states, because we're already doing some things with Texas, where Texas has an aggregation and portal site up. And we're in discussions, some discussions going on with California right now. If we get that done, we'll have 4 of the larger states. And then my team, being led by Gary Vandervoort, that's leading products, is just knocking down one state after another to get the portal sites up. It was very impressive yesterday in talking to Florida to basically just show them, here's your site. It's done. It's done. It's an aggregation of content from lawyers already in Florida that are already blogging and bringing their, automatically, we're bringing those blogs from the LexBlog network into a portal for Florida. So if you're a lawyer, 1, ask your state if they're participating. If their state is not participating, ask them why not, or if we haven't got a hold of them yet, we will. You can also get a hold of us and get blogging right away on the Blog for Good platform. It's free if you're a member of an association that's already participating. It's $39 if you're not. So the cost is not going to be an impediment to getting involved. And your content will immediately come into LexBlog, and it'll be showcased on our Virus Legal Daily and the pandemic publication that we're running, and then be part of the LexBlog syndication of content out. But I think we're on the way to having the largest amount of insight and commentary coming from lawyers relating to this pandemic in the world, and that's certainly the goal. And it's not being done for LexBlog, it's not being done for the lawyers, it's being done to help people. I think what we're doing is we're just joining, and LexBlog has the honor of empowering bar associations, empowering lawyers to have this opportunity to help people at this time. Hope you guys have a great day. Take care.